I'm Martin Anderson. Glad to be here. Just stopped in to interview one of our favorite local musicians, favorite national musicians, because he's been around in all sorts of great music cities over the years. Seth Walker is here in Studio B. Our live Studio B sessions are brought to you by Sierra Nevada Brewing Company. Welcome back to your Spindale home, Seth. How you doing?
Martin. Good to be back with you, bud.
Great.
Yeah.
It's been a couple of years, I think, now. Is it?
Really?
Or is it a year and a half?
Gosh, man, I really don't know. I guess no. No, I Hope I Know record came out in May of 2022. So I guess a year and a half now.
So it's right then.
Yeah,
All right.
probably came in and hung out with you then.
Isn't the time-space continuum thing kind of
Yeah.
weird with that pandemic thing and just, I don't know, getting older and life
Pretty
too?
vortexy, yeah.
It changes and
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
I'll say.
But what doesn't change is you keep putting out great music and going on a bunch of great tours, including some nice local gigs.
Yeah.
Got some stuff coming up.
Yeah, hometown gig tonight at the Gray Eagle.
Right on.
Yeah.
What time does that start?
8 o'clock.
All right.
8 o'clock.
That was my first tough question to ask you in our interview. What time is your show?
Yeah, first tough answer, too.
Good job. All right, so that's tonight, the Gray Eagle. And for folks around the Queen City and points east of WNCW, you're in Charlotte on December 1st at the Evening Muse.
Yeah. You ever been to that little spot?
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's a good little joint. It's right in what they call it, Noda.
In the Noda district.
Noda.
Yeah.
I'm going to be with my buddy Ed Jurdy from the band The Heathens. I know Ed from my Austin days.
Okay.
And he relocated to Asheville as well.
All right.
He's joined the party.
Okay.
And we're just going to do like a little, just me and him.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
that'll be good.
That's on the 1st at the Evening Muse.
Yeah.
But tonight, solo?
No, I'll be with the band tonight.
You got the band tonight?
Yeah,
All
with the band tonight. And then we're going to go down to Greensboro tomorrow. That's pretty much where I was born. I was born in Burlington, actually, but I grew up right outside of there in a little town called Altamaha, Ossipee. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Bless you. Okay.
So that'll be kind of another hometown show for me as well. So
on.
It'll be a good weekend.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you're solo right now.
Yeah.
You just got your guitar here in Studio B, and we are live on WNCW's Facebook page for folks who want to watch the video. But otherwise, glad you're tuned in right now for Seth Walker.
All right. We'll do an old Bobby Charles tune. We'll start with that. If I had my way, I'll leave here today. I'll leave in a hurry. I find me a place where I could stay and not have to worry. A place I'd feel loose. A place I could lose these Tennessee blues. I find me a spot on a mountaintop with no one around me, with valleys and streams of birds in the trees, with lakes that surround me. A place I'd feel loose now. A place I could lose these Tennessee blues. A place to forget all my regrets, keep just a good time. A place I could sleep and nothing but peace and feel free at all times. A place I'd feel loose, a place I could lose these old Tennessee blues. A place I could lose these Tennessee blues.
Seth Walker here on WNCW, and you said, I think, a Bobby Charles tune?
Bobby Charles, yeah.
All right, cool. Did you learn that during your tenure in Tennessee, in Nashville, or does that go way back?
Oh, gosh, well, I don't know when I knew of this other one of his that actually just released as a single as well. I love Bobby Charles, called I Must Be in a Good Place Now. That was a single I put out, my latest single. And so I had heard of that tune, and then this friend of mine had sent me Tennessee Blues, that tune, and I embarrassed to say I wasn't hip to that one. And it was like it just framed exactly where I was when I moved to North Carolina. I was in Tennessee, and I was like, God, I got to get the hell out of here, and I'm going to North Carolina. And I was like, well, there's my tune.
Yeah.
Bobby Charles. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love how you have lived in like what I consider like the three main music cities of Nashville, Austin, and New Orleans.
Yeah.
And now you're in Asheville,
Make it
which
four.
is make it four. Asheville's a different class because it's so much smaller, but yeah, it's big as a music city for sure.
Yeah.
You spent a good bit of time in New York too.
I spent a little time there. Yeah.
Like I don't know if you were living there. Or
I
just
lived
hanging
there
out a lot.
I tried it.
Yeah.
I tried it for a year. But yeah, I was in Austin's kind of where I got all of this going.
Yeah.
As far as professionally. I mean, I grew up playing music.
Yeah.
Both of my folks are classical musicians that you know. And but it was Austin where I was like, because I was eating up with the blues stuff. I just wanted to go somewhere where it was just woven through. So I did Austin for 14 years, Nashville for 3, New Orleans for 6, back to Nashville for another couple, and I finally made it back home.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, each of those three major cities, Austin, Nashville, New Orleans, they each have really their own sound of music, and I guess each different people will give it a different description, but they're each unique cities. I hear each of those sounds really in your music, to be honest. I don't know about the New York side. I don't know, Broadway musicals or something. I haven't heard that in Seth Walker music
the
yet.
jazz
there you go.
side of it.
And you certainly got that, but I figure that's your New Orleans side.
Yeah,
maybe.
The Texas stuff was, when I first moved there, I was really into like T-Bone Walker, and I was into the B.B. King, Louis Jordan. I was playing Amos Milburn songs. I was like a jump blues. I was a jump blues dude. I would get people to come out and swing dance. That's how I made a living.
Fun.
Yeah.
Being on stage watching people swing dance.
Yeah.
to you?
So Texas kind of taught me, about the groove, about the swing. They tell you swinging down in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And then Nashville was more of, kind of trying to start to pay more attention to the lyrics and, and songwriting and blah, blah, blah. And then New Orleans kind of, that was like, it almost unlearned me in a good way going down there. That place is just so raw. It's like, better get down to the reason why you started doing this in the first place. That was what New Orleans was good for me. And of course, all of the Caribbean music and the blues and the jazz and the folk and the soul music is all, of course, intertwined. So a good place for me to hang my hat for a while. Yeah.
But your life, so far anyway, is kind of bookended by the great state of North Carolina, because you've been in Asheville now, back here for a couple years.
Yeah, a couple years.
And you grew up in, what you say, outside of Greensboro,
Yeah.
and it was like in Burlington area,
Yeah.
and it was like a a rural setting, like a family commune, or
Yeah.
your folks on like a little
Yeah.
piece of land? And what about the music scene there? Is there like, is there the bluegrass Carolina influence, or
I
is
mean, yeah. Well, actually, now that you mention it, the first concert I ever saw, my dad took me to see, and Mom too, to see Doc Watson. I was probably 5 years old. That was pretty good.
that's a pretty good way to
Not
start.
a bad way to start it, right? I don't remember much about it, but I remember that. I remember that record was, I can't remember. It was one Doc Watson record where they're all sitting around a table. I don't know the name of that record. God, he's got so many, but but Willie Nelson records were spinning at that, in our house, and I remember that might have been some of the first music I think I ever felt.
Okay.
There was something, as we all know, something about
Yeah.
what's going on with that dude. It's just pierces. But I grew up with classical music, playing the cello.
All right.
So it was kind of a, I didn't really play guitar until college. So there wasn't really much, I guess, as you said, a music scene that we were a part of. More of like a hippie, beautiful culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Some of the essence, maybe, of things
Yeah.
you learned.
Yeah, some of that.
about
Yeah,
life.
some
All right.
of that was there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I like being able to hear all these different influences in your music of your many albums over the years.